Musicality.
What is poppin' squad? It's your boy, and today we got ourselves a Predator's Mark build. How to make your bleed as strong as possible type roll. So anyways, let's get into the details. I know you guys have been waiting for this. Those who've been asking me how to maximize your bleed, how to make it bleed as hard as possible. And I'm going to show you. So let's get it. You guys can see the stats look phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? 415 DPS, 595 toughness, 86 skill power. When it's mid-max, firepower will be around like 421 or something like that. Toughness will be like at 607 around there. It depends. But roughly, you'll be seeing some nice looking stats if you decide to optimize this build. The gun I'm using is the House with Vicious and Deadly. That's the best bleed talents possible, if you ask me. A lot of people would say other combinations, but I don't think so. I think Vicious and Deadly are the best for Predator's Mark, especially since you can roll such high stamina anyways, and you're tanky, so usually you're sitting in a well above 2 bars. So anyways, that's how I would roll it. I'm not saying it's the only way. I'm just saying for me it's the best way if you would like to bleed. This is what I used during the PTS. This is what I took to live game. Same difference. Secondary doesn't really matter. I just have this just to kill NPCs. It's like my baby nomad gun. Don't pay no mind to that. Try to do something that's not a sub. So a lot of people like running double subs. Don't do that. You won't have the same ammo capacity and you'll run out of ammo fast. And if you're unlucky like me, you won't have ammo capacity on nothing. So anyways, let's go into the build. You guys can see it's a Predator's Mark vest. Roll for stamina with exotic damage resilience. And the reason I ran this is because I want a little bit resistance towards other Predator Mark builds. You can run anything, but I just think this is the biggest chunk of protection. This is kind of like rolling health twice in a sense, because the less damage the bleed does to you, the more deadly your build's going to be against them. So exotic damage resilience and health rolled on that main stat stamina. As you can see, my minor, I wish I had ammo capacity. I don't, but it is what it is. The mods I have are 2 firearms mods with health. Pretty much what you want to do based around, you want to have at least 9,000 stamina, so everything's really going to be rolled towards stamina and putting firearms mods. I think that's the most optimal way, because then you can make just enough firearms to be able to hit these 2 talents. So going into the mask, we have stamina mask with crit chance, damage to elites, just to make killing NPCs a little bit better, especially when I switch to my secondary. Prototype firearms mods with health. As you can see, it's pretty much the same across all of them with the mods. Stamina, crit damage rolled on here. And the reason I chose crit damage, a lot of people say it has diminishing returns and it's not worth it versus the extra toughness, but we're not going for toughness with this build. We're going for maximum damage output, and having crit hit damage is really, really good when you have such high crit chance and deadly on your weapon as well. So anything in this meta with crit damage on your knee pads is going to hit way harder because of how high you're able to get your crit chance, and I'll show you that in a little bit. My mod is post critical hit chance in firearms with health. You can honestly do either first aid self heal if you want to heal yourself if you're not running a pulse, but if you are running a pulse, I'll show you why I have post critical hit chance whenever I do run my pulse. Going to my backpack, roll for stamina, also critical hit damage. So mind this, so far we have 17% just from my knee pads and my backpack, and obviously if you have to optimize it, you get 1% from the knee pads. That is a lot of extra damage with a build that mostly hits crits all the time. And the fact is, if a lot of people don't really pay attention, your crits affect your bleed. If your bleed crits, that's when you see those crazy crit bleeds that they like look like they get one tap. That's what you want. The higher the crit chance, the more chance you have of getting that bleed, and the more crit damage you have, the higher that bleed will be. As you can see in the intro, I hit 150k bleed. That is pretty much after 10 bullets, and nobody surviving that unless you have a nomad, pretty much. So, and if you go to my performance mods, post critical hit chance, stamina with health, and the reason I have stamina with health is just to get the 9,000 stamina cap that I need. SMG damage, crit chance, roll for stamina, gloves, and a holster with crit chance. You can also, if you, like I said, if you feel like the damage is enough for you, even without the crit damage, you can easily roll off this and knee pads and backpack and have upwards of 620, 630 toughness as is, and still bleed and still hurt people. But this is for the people who just want to play the role to put harsh bleeds on somebody and make it super, super hard for them to survive. So that's pretty much the build in its entirety. For me read this, a lot of people don't pay attention to this, but the reason I have 9,000 stamina is for the bottom part. You can see right here, when at 9,000 stamina, the damage over time bonus is increased by an additional 120%, which basically means do not run this build unless you have 9,000 stamina. It's pointless if you do anything other than 9,000. Don't hurt yourself. If you want to go for damage because you want to have higher firearms, you might as well make a striker build. That's a roll for firearms. Do not do anything but 9,000 stamina. This bonus is way too big to be wasting on to get extra damage for extra toughness. So that's why I have 9,000 stamina, and that's why you pretty much have to run this amount of firearms because of the damage you put out. So yeah, that's why I have the 6-piece. Remember that. To get maximized bleed, remember this is 3 things that make your bleed powerful: 9,000 stamina, crit chance, and crit damage. That's it. Everything else falls in line if you follow the build. Obviously, it tells you what to do, and you will go ham. Especially when the house gets its good magazine that gets extra damage, you do crazy amounts of damage. Yeah, so going into the character sheet so you guys can see, firearms, stamina, electronics, weapon damage, critical hit chance is at 51% before I pulse. So this is why I'm able to switch off my mods sometimes for, say, self-heal, because this is maximum, almost maximum crit chance before I even pop a pulse. If I pop pulse, I'm well over 60, and if they ever raise the cap, it's going to be amazing because I'm going to be able to hit like 70-80% if that was a thing. But as of right now, I am 9% away from max crit chance on a Predator's Mark build. Just remember that. Crit damage at 127%, headshot damage 62%. You can go to the reload speed bonus is at almost at 25% just because of Predator. What else is important? Let's go down to max health, 413,000. Armor mitigations at 30%. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as the skills, most people, it changes what you like. Booster shot is obviously the best option if you want more damage. Because if you pop that, pop your pulse, make them bleed, high crit damage, then bleeds will hurt. You'll melt people. So booster shot's really good to have. And the scrambler pulse, I would say run scrambler, but the thing is not a lot of people are running pulses as is anyways, so it's almost redundant to run that. I would say run the recon pack. That's pretty much what you want to run because it's a bigger pulse and it comes back faster. But if you want to go balls in and you want to get the most damage possible, obviously go tactical scanner. But if you want my true opinion, run recon. You get to see what med kits are up, and you get to be able to run to them if you need it. You'll be able to scan way more people way faster. So that's pretty much you want to go into. You can see my crit chance at 16%. So even if I took off All the crit chance on my entire build. If I ran a pulse, I'd be at max crit chance, which is really good if I want to run that type of build. But it kind of go both ways. Crit damage at 8%, so you can see where all the damage would be coming from if you were to run this. But the safest option, obviously, since you don't have healing, will be run support station. But that's all preference, and that's all up to you. Let's go into the talents. I was in a team situation, so I had comeback medic on. Obviously, if you like playing solo, you want one is none. You want critical save, shrapnel, because shrapnel does work with Predator's Mark, and it does bleed them for the amount that you're bleeding that player for. So I've came in situations where I bled one guy and it killed 2 others. So it could work. It's super low, and it's not that. I feel like it's even less than 30%, but it does work. It does work with the build, and if you bleed people enough, you can really do some damage to the whole team. Strike back, obviously. Everybody wants that 20% all the time at low health. So yeah, that's pretty much the build, you guys. This is the Predator build I'm using whenever I do put it on. I want to optimize it, but I'm working on optimizing my Nomad, so I don't want to invest in this. But if you do optimize this role set with these roles that I showed you, you will destroy. So it's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching, man. It's been real. Enjoy bleeding people, because they will hate you and you will get me messages for this build. But it is what it is. Thank y'all for watching. Your boy is out.